Well, hello, friends. Welcome back. And thank you for joining me each week. And for those of you who are new, thank you for stopping by. And I hope you're enjoying my videos. Today, we are going to play with circles. So I am a little bit behind. I'm trying to do an album in a year with the Your Own Way from Creative Memories. I do use mainly Creative Memories products, but many times I have things from my stash. And I think you just need to use what you have, enjoy the products that you have, dive into your stash, shop it. But any of these principles and things that I go over with you today are fine for any, just come with the products that you have. If you love scrapbook.com or Stamping Up. And I love all of them. So I have a little bit of everything. But I have been with Creative Memories for a long time. But anyway, I have some pictures here. I'm going to do a month in review and diving into circles using Your Own Way. So I'll walk you through how I've done this, but these are my circles for today, and I will talk about what's in the circles. If you do not have the custom cutting system, even if you shop a lot elsewhere, the custom cutting system is a great tool that Creative Memories has, and it's one of those that I don't use nearly enough. And I know I say that with a lot of the products that I show you, and it's true. I tend to scrapbook a little more simply, but I've been watching some videos on Instagram from my professional page, and I'm going to tell you, I inked the edges of these, all right, and I've shown how to do that. I used a gray ink, and I just come in, and again, I'm not doing anything rustic. I just tip it away so that I just do the edge. And I've shared this in other videos, but if you're new here, that's just how I do it. I tip it away. If I want it to look more rustic, I tip it forward and really work the edges more to make it look aged. But just to bring some definition to the page and separation with the papers, I tip it back just to get a clean edge. You can also take your ink pad and just run it along the edge. I try to be careful with that because I have learned as I've watched videos that can also ruin a pad. But anyway, and then if you don't like inking, don't ink. I didn't ink for a long time, and then I was watching some other people outside Creative Memories, and they were inking. I'm like, I like how that looks. I don't do it every time. All right, so instead of doing the grid in the middle, and this is what I use, my friend, who's like my benefactor, she gave me this. And so that is how I cut it. So this is actually a 10 1/8 inch square. All right, it's 10 1/8 by 10 1/8. So that's what that is. And then this piece is not quite 2 inches. So it's 1 7/8 inches by 12. All right, so 1 7/8 by 12, 10 1/8 by 10 1/8. Odd numbers, I know, but it's just, these are scraps. So they fit at the end. That's why I'm using it. And then these I cut down to fit this grid. So this grid is 10 1/8 by 10 1/8. This is from another company, scrapbook.com probably. I don't know. But anyway, you can find templates like that around on the internet. So I'm centering it. I'm not gonna have it centered like this with a frame all the way around. I am bringing it into the middle of the paper here. And just centering it like that. So it looks like a well thought out 2-page spread, right? So there we go. All right, and I have inked these edges too, just the top and bottom, not in between, not out here because it's butting up to this. All right, so that's that. And then, the grid helps us to lay out our photos. And again, you can also use a ruler, but this is how I'm doing it. So this is from May, and then I'm bringing, look at me and my sweet son, out for Cinco de Mayo. So that's in here. And then I'm just going to mix in papers. Yes, I have a picture of ground turkey. I'll talk about that. Yep. Okay, so that does not go there. I was going to have that there. And yes, that circle is not quite straight or circle-y. round, and that's okay. It's going to be going, it's going to be covered up. So just bear with me. All right, so this is how it's going to look. And so I'm going to stick them down in there. And but first, I'm going to stick down these papers, and then we'll come back with the grid, and you'll see how this is all gonna lay out. But that's the idea. But I will be right back, and well, I'm not going to leave quite yet. We're just gonna. I wanted to show that to you. All right, so let's get these papers down and get our stuff centered. Yes, and this is the flip side of this paper, all right, which I think this paper is great. And I do have more, but I'm like, I hate using it up. Oh no, I'm using the wrong side. All right, hang on a second. This is why we use repositionable, because you can just wipe it right off. And we'll continue to clean it. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. Anyway, comment below, because now we've just had the 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of our nation, which I just think is fantastic. I remember the bicentennial back in 76 a little bit, but not like this. And I just thought it was just so well done. I haven't watched everything yet, but comment below. Did you guys do anything special for the 4th or for the 250th? Did you go to DC? Some of my neighbors went up to DC and to see those festivities. So I know it's 10 1/8 square. So I know I'm going to come down an inch and come up an inch, right? So we're going to center it in here and as closely as I can, because we have an 1/8 to account for. So I'm going to just, this is like painful to watch. I'm sure you can always fast forward if you don't like this piece of the thing. All right, so there we go. Got that down. I think that's straight. Okay, we'll get this one now. But yeah, comment below. Did you do anything special? Go anywhere? We always have a big picnic here, and our neighborhood does fantastic fireworks. And so we went to those, and it was, if you're anywhere along the eastern seaboard, you know that well, anywhere on the eastern side of the nation right now, it is sweltering hot. And so Friday night, it was sweltering hot, so we were just, there weren't as many people at the fireworks this year. I can attest to that, even though we still had hundreds of people. I think people were in watching FIFA and staying cool, which, do I blame them? No. So anyway, that's what we did. I'm just going to get some of that repositionable gum off. Okay, there we go. So we see simple layout. Two pieces of paper, boom, boom, we're done. All right, so let's bring in the grid and get these photos down. And I'll just do one side to show you how I do this. But anyway, back to the 4th of July. Well, I live near Tryon, North Carolina. So me and my sister and our friend, we went up there, had dinner ringside, and watched the horses. So just so you know, with this, if you're going to use circles, the Crib Memories custom cutting system comes with a template like this. Can you see that? There we go. The lights from the skylight. All right, so there it is. There's the template. All right, so you can lay the circles on there. You can put a photo under here, okay, like that, and see how you wanna cut it, okay? Sorry for the ring light there, but that's what you do. All right, so that is the circle template. So what I did is I cut the photos with the blue blade, all right, and then I cut the mats with the green blade. So this would be the smallest blade for the inside of a circle, and this would be the middle one, okay? So that's what I did. And so I used our largest circle, blue blade to cut the photo, green blade to cut the mat, okay? And then for these, I used the green blade to cut the just all of the circles, all right, that are just paper, all right, I used the green blade. But to make my journaling circle, I used the blue blade for the cardstock there, okay? So that's what I did. That's how I use this. And what I was saying earlier is that there's some young ladies on Instagram that I'm watching from my professional channel, and they're using the custom cutting system and the corner rounder a lot. And it's almost like it's funny because they're kind of like vintage scrapbookers. So anyway, that's what I'm seeing out there. And I'm like, you know, they are really diving into all these tools. Now, excuse me, let me just, there we go. Sorry about that. They don't use all Creative Memories products, but they are using the custom cutting system and then other punches. And so they do a lot of these fast videos on Instagram. And it's just been really fun to watch them and be like, you know, back in the day, I'm going to take this off and I'm going to just start spacing it with my eye. Back in the day, that's what we did when we were first started with Creative Memories, right? Or any kind of scrapbook. You just kind of used these tools that you had, which there wasn't much back then. And which I hate to say back then, but that's really how it is. I may have to straighten this up. So these two top photos are Cinco de Mayo. My son and I enjoy doing Cinco de Mayo each year. Here we go. It's hard to find a restaurant that has room. So we tried to go early, but then I think he got held up a little bit. And so anyway, we ended up waiting about, I don't know, 45 minutes for our seat. That's just how it is sometimes. All right, let me put these down here. But yeah, so we like to do Cinco de Mayo each year. I wish my other son lived closer and he could join us in the whole Cinco de Mayo craziness. But that would be a bit much to ask him to come up from Atlanta just for dinner. Although, if he's watching, I would drive there to just have dinner. I'm just saying. All right, let's get this one in the middle. Well, let me get these down first on the bottom and then work my way to the center. So I'm just following how it is up top. And so this photo is that my dog was really sick this past spring. I think I shared it. Anyway, we were at the ER with her. She had gotten super sick, and we didn't know what was causing it. And then I started Googling stuff, and as sometimes we all do, right? We just start looking. You know, you can't see everything. So does it, you know, it can just kind of try to see the background if that's right side up. Maybe we'll do it that way. But anyway, I started Googling stuff and then just decided to start cooking for her. And yes, I am a crazy lady, but that is what we're doing. And I've gotten it down to a system. So that's what that is. When we started, yep, I took a photo of her food is what I did to mark the beginning of all of the craziness. So that's what that's about. And then this picture of my son here is, he surprised me. He's like, I'm taking a trip this year and I'm not telling you where I'm going. And we're like, all right, well, what's with all the secrecy? But I'm like, Lord, just keep them safe, right? That's what we all pray for our children. And so anyway, on my birthday, he called me from China. He was on the Great Wall. So that was so cool. All right, I'm going to pause this and get the other grid down, and then we'll start embellishing. But that, I wanted you to see the idea of setting up a grid based on this and the spacing. Now, you know, if I put this down, are they all centered? Pretty much, yeah. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. But anyway, that is, I just wanted you to see setting up a grid with the circles. And I'm going to pause the video and come back after the other photos are done, and then we will start embellishing. All right, I'll be right back. All right, we are back. I have the grids laid out. And I told you about this side, but here's another picture of my son on the Great Wall, and he was a giant over there. And the day that he was there, there were a lot of children, I guess, on field trips, and so they were all saying hello to him, and then someone took his picture for him. So, but I have a greater appreciation. I have never been to China. Comment below if you have. Let me know. Have you been to China? I would like to go and see it. I want to go with him and see it through his eyes. That is what I would ultimately love to do, and that would be pretty cool. So anyway, all right, let's come in with the embellishments. All right, and we're gonna start to lay it out. So we have circles here, and I am just taking, I have some things from Noteworthy Days. I cut up a card, a matte pack card, and then I've got a title. So my colors, these are all from the Your Own Way collection, so they're all made to go. But I also was taking my cue from the stickers. So if you're not sure sometimes, what to do with a color palette, especially with a collection like this, the month of May on this, all right, is predominantly like these orangey browns, all right? So it's, more brown than orange, but it is a warm brown. Blues, greens, yellows, like it's all in there, okay? And so I just figured I need a hero paper to try to tie all these colors together. So I've got two going on that have all the colors in them. And then I figured, this is a dominant background. I've got the white matte to cool it down and help it out. And then bringing in some colors that are in the stickers that they have for that month. Because when you move into June, you've got like a navy or black, depending on how you're seeing it. And then you have a little bit of brown, but you've got yellows, greens, and blues. It starts to change a little bit. So we're gonna bring in these, and I'm gonna get my trusty foam squares to use. I need to get more, is what I need to do. All right, and then I cut this off of a matte pack card a while ago. And I'm just gonna put that on there is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna put that down, and that will be one of our little titles. It's gonna be a little more wordy bit forward, this layout. But there's also, I took my cue as well. I wanted to do circles for one. But there's a lot of circles in here. So that's what I'm using that. That's what we're going with. All right, so let me get our title, and we're gonna get this up here. And I do think I want to put that on foam squares, and I have not used foam squares a ton. There we go. All those little sticker bits. There we go. But let me know, are you using one of these collections? I know other companies have album in a year collections. We're not the only one. I think ours has a really good price point based on what I've seen elsewhere. So I will say that our album collections are, well, this isn't an album box. Our album boxes are $150, and it comes with an album. This is just the Your Own Way collection to do a year, and so it's not $100. Well, it might be $100 with everything. All right, so we're gonna put this over here, and I might actually bring it down onto the photo a little bit. I do like to overlap and create some interest that way. Okay, why is it not sticking, Carrie? Because you didn't take the sticker backing off of the foam squares. Hello. All right, so just remember to do that so that your stuff sticks. But anyway, yes, so they have the different collections, and other companies have collections to, where it's just paper and embellishments to do an album and, like a year in review kind of thing. And I do like it now for the cohesiveness it gives my albums. I can still be creative as much as I want to be and use my stash, my dies and different things like that. So, all right, you're probably wondering, like, oh, Carrie, you've made a mess of this circle. Yes, I did. I thought I had enough paper, and I did not, but I'm like, you know what? Embellish. That's what we're going to do. We're going to embellish it. All right, so I don't think that this will hide it, but I want to use that spring title, but I don't think we're going to use it there because I don't think it will hide it enough. So what we're going to do is we are going to bring in some more stickers. Let's put this one down, Cinco de Mayo. We'll bring that one down in here. Okay. And if you don't like putting stickers on your stuff, then don't worry about it. Don't stress yourself out. It's not worth it. That's what I say. All right, so we're going to come in here with a flower and hide that edge as best we can. Okay, so there we go. Edge one hidden. All right, and then we're going to come over here and hide this one like that. All right, so then I've got to sprinkle my way around that circle a little bit. So I will do that to kind of connect it all. And I may put another wordy bit in there. Trying to think if we had anything. All right, well, let's just connect these. And since it was Cinco de Mayo, we can just kind of create a little chain, little flower chain going across. And I think that will look cute. It's probably going to use up all my flowers, but that's all right. We'll just connect these. And I can always come back in with a wordy bit as I give it more thought. You know, it's like, you know, we get our pages done, but then sometimes, you know, you want a little more, you know, and that's okay. So it's always good to kind of check back in and see. All right, so I have a little chain going across. I might come in with like a little wordy bit like this that says picture perfect. So let's see. These are see-through. These are like vellum stickers. So you want to make sure that you're okay with seeing the papers underneath. All right. All right. So then we have this over here. And so what I'm going to do there is this. I cut this off of a map pack. I just fussy cut it so that I could use it in my circle. Tomorrow's moment, memories. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. That's how we're doing it. All right, so I'm going to tack these down. And I'm not using a ton of foam squares on this. I may add in some more, but I didn't use any here. But anyway, yeah, so I told you about the dog food, right? Like, that's interesting, right? Like, Carrie, tell us something more interesting than that. It's just random magnolia in the neighborhood during spring. I love how they smell. And then, let's bring this over here. And then here, I was driving down to where I have a horse that I lease. And there's a train that goes through that town. So I caught the train. I saw it more last year. So I just took a picture of the train, just life. And, you know, I told you about that. Then it was mulching time for us. So pictures of the mulch coming. All right, let's put the rainbow up on some foam squares. That will be fun. We'll do the rainbow. I love a good rainbow, and I thought this would be really pretty over there, kind of tying in some of the colors from this layout. And it's just a good reminder of the promises that are given to us. So there we go. All right, and I'm going to bring this in and just have it overlap, all right, so that we're breaking through those visual boundaries a little bit. And you know, I talk about that a lot, but you don't have to. There's times when a layout is appropriate right in the boundaries, right? And you want it that way, and that's fine. So I say do it. All right, so I'm going to have this over here. We have this big embellishment here. So I'm going to make an embellishment cluster here, and then I'll come back into these. All right, so this is from last year, from Noteworthy Days. And I want to kind of layer up. I was just trying to find things from my stash. You know what? I didn't put this back perfectly right. Okay, there we go. So I wanted to find things. I could do this, but it, like, there isn't a slit there in the boot. Is there? Nope. And did I think to do a slit? Nope. Spring is here. We'll kind of come out of the circle a little bit. And I've got a little butterfly. I like the butterflies. So we'll put that like right on the flower. Okay, so we have that done. Okay. And then, let's see, we've got a little flower thing over there. And then we want to say spring because it was May. It's hard to believe that this is like 2 months ago. My friend and I talk about that quite often. It's like, where is the time going? Right? It's like, it's just kind of crazy. Let's bring this up in here. Oh. And you gotta be careful of vellum because there you go. And I'm not happy with that. But there it's gonna stick. And that's just how it is sometimes. All right. So we have flowers. All right, let's bring in another little cluster of flowers over in here. I want to put this one up on a foam square. All right, here we go. Make sure that one's not too big. Okay, there we go. We'll do a little cluster right in here. Kind of round out that whole circle-y look. We don't have to have as many over in here. Okay. There we go. They kind of blend in a little bit, huh? But I can see it here, but it might be hard for you to see it on the thing. So there's a lot of things in here for Mother's Day. So there's that. And then this circle I didn't tell you about. That is my nephew. He graduated from college, and I may come up with some more wordy bits for in here. That I'm going to need to figure out because it is not making me happy. So let's see, how can we, because right, this could be a problem for any of us, is how do we rectify this a little bit? We might not be able to. It might be down and not going anywhere. If you don't have this tool, the all-purpose tool, which is a Creative Memories tool. I don't know if anybody else has anything like this, but this is great for helping to, so let's see if we can back up this little travesty here that took me by surprise. And I am sorry, but you know, I'm gonna actually record this because I want you to see that my hope is that you'll see that not all hope is lost when something like this happens. And you just do it slowly. And I'm just going to keep going along underneath it. Let's see if we can get this off our page. You can see that I'm picking up my pace with it because it seems to be coming off pretty well. But I want to be careful because these papers are thin. But it's good for you to see how these tools work. There we go. Okay, we're almost there. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. We can undo that. Uh-oh. Moment. And then let's hope it doesn't like go over to the. There we go. Oh. All right, let's put that back on the sticker page so that doesn't happen again. And you know what the thing is if it doesn't stick as well the next time, you know, you can just put some sticker stuff on it. You know, some adhesive. All right, it is back in its home where it belongs. All right, so what we can do is over here, there's a little bit of spring fever. Do that. All right, spring fever, which I can see it here. It might not be showing up well on the thing. So this has what looks like inking, okay? So I'm just gonna add that there. And I might come back in with some circles at some point. All right, so I've got spring fever. This is where my journaling's gonna go. And so then it's just this circle here that I need to figure out. So can do love pop puzzle. Happy birthday. It was my birthday month. We could do noteworthy days. These are also see-through. These colors are in there. There we go. Noteworthy days. They're just days. So it's just how it is sometimes, right? We just kind of go along on our day-to-day, but you know, taking joy in each day. All right, so that is where we're going to end it. I'm going to journal, and I'm just going to kind of bullet point it. I may take this off too. I don't know that I'm happy there, but I'm not going to make you sit through that. I wanted you to see that you can do it, okay? I say don't wait too long. But anyway, there's a lot going on here with the circle, so I want to make sure that, you know, I have it laid out in such a way that it's not too heavy there, and maybe course correct it over here a little bit. But that is our grid for May using circles. So let me know, have you used the custom cutting system, and do you enjoy it? And, you know, and then let me know what you did with the 4th of July. I am catching up on some of the festivities on YouTube that happened around the nation. There's some cool ones. The fireworks, and if you feel like listening to a speech, our president's speech at Mount Rushmore, but there was some cool stuff there. There was a cool drone show in Dallas, a cool drone show in Boston, the tall ships in New York, and then, of course, everything that was happening in DC. So there's some cool stuff, and I think it's important to celebrate the heritage of our nation. All right, well, let me know how you did with all that, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend. I hope you get to scrap. I hope you're staying cool, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.